Edition of Journalist Hangout. I'm Ayodele Uzubakun. Today on the program, President Tinubu addresses United Nations General Assembly, advocates sanctions against extremism, arms proliferation in Africa, and later on the show, ahead of the Court of Appeal's legal week, stakeholders push for better remuneration, working conditions for judges for quick and effective dispensation of justice. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade Otitoju and Mojid Jamil. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. What's happening? The tribunal sitting in Kano State, I just read it now, and I know that, man, this is big. It's actually nullified the election of the governor, the candidate of the NNPP. And, you know, we used to talk about how popular the NNPP is in Kano State during that election. What happened?
No, it's about...
The tribunal wants Ghana to be given the certificate of return now.
But it's not the final court. So I'm sure they will appeal it right up to the final court, which is the Supreme Court. In this kind of matters, we as journalists, we can only be patient to see how the matter will be finally resolved. You know what happened in Osun. When you read the first judgment, you will conclude that Oyetola had won. Yes, but some of the reasons given by the appeal court were that, you said this person was guilty of forgery, but you didn't bring the principal of his school to come and prove that indeed that certificate was not issued by them. You know, the court also said that it was not enough to use the beavers, you know, to ascertain overvoting, that the voters register should have been used. The court also said, you should have, the judges that concord should have put their conclusions in writing. And that for not doing that, it was fatal to the case. So you can imagine some of those issues that were later resolved in favor of Adeleke. We didn't expect it. We didn't expect, for example, that with the electronic accreditation module, that you still need to use
from ECT.
That you still need to use the voters register to authenticate overvoting. Well, that was what the appeal court said, and that was what the Supreme Court also agreed on. So a lot of people were left bemused, surprised that such issues were used to eventually disqualify Oyetola. So in this case, we don't know what will happen when they get to the appeal court or the Supreme Court.
So they still have the Court of Appeal and they still have the Supreme Court.
Yes. So for he's still governor for
the governorship. They have.
He's still in government house. He's still governor until the final court rules. Anything can happen, you know. And we've seen somebody who lost at the appeal court, and the Supreme Court said, no, you are the... Remember, I think the governor for your state.
Even Governor Nyesom Wike.
Yes, they lost. It was the Supreme Court that saved them. Nyesom Wike, and I think even the governor of Akwa Ibom at that time.
MJ.
Yeah, it was a shock judgment. I started having some goose pimples in the morning when I heard that the court was empty and the judges chose the Zoom option to...
Zoom option?
Yeah, it was delivered via Zoom.
Kano?
Yeah, Kano, this judgment we are talking about. So I started having some feelings then that something might just happen. So Abba Yusuf, for now, remains governor. There are 3 legs. So for Ganduje and the APC, it's...
Gowna?
Yeah.
Deputy...
No, Ganduje is the main... Ganduje is the main, but Gowna is the...
Gowna is the candidate of the...
But then, this battle is between Ganduje and Kwakwanso. We all know it. So, now it is 1-0. But then it's a three-legged...
1-1.
Okay, so now it's 1-1.
Yes.
So we still have 2 other legs. The final leg...
Okay, 3 draws.
But the Supreme Court will take the final... So I'm not excited. And like Jide said, we'll just be looking at what is happening because we have not seen the details of the judgment. Rather, I mean, the only thing we can pick from what happened today is that, yes, the tribunal judges said INEC ought not to have declared Abba Yusuf governor.
All what we know is that, in Kano won #1 in the federation for governorship and presidential.
Voting.
Kano is, in terms of voting, they are #1 in the country.
They are the people who gave somebody who was not
on the ballot.
Somebody who was technically not on the ballot because he had left the party. He still got 400 and something thousand votes. Yeah.
Kano people, they
Kano
don't have that at all.
So
we'll be on it. We'll be on it. We're not going to leave it at all.
Kazo and Fika.
Kano. All right. From ECOWAS to the African Union and now the United Nations, it has been a roller coaster ride for President Bola Tinubu on the global stage with less than 4 months into his presidency. President Tinubu addressed world leaders at the 78th United Nations General Assembly in New York, where he made solemn call for a crackdown on terror financing, economic sabotage, and illicit arms smuggling in developing societies. President Tinubu noted that his aggressive economic diplomacy push for new investment has been effective in presenting Nigeria as business ready. Let's share the story from TVC News. Femi Akonde with you.
Just outside the United Nations headquarters, people are making their way inside. Ahead of President Bola Tinubu's speech to the UN General Assembly, his first address on the biggest global stage as the leader of Nigeria. Inside the General Assembly hall, President Bola Tinubu takes to the rostrum to deliver a broader message that transcends beyond Nigeria and cuts across Africa. He called for a crackdown on terror financing, economic sabotage, and illicit mineral and arms smuggling in the developing world.
Our entire region is locked in protracted battle against violent extremists. In the turmoil, a dark channel of inhuman commerce has formed. At the same time, mercenaries and extremists with their lethal weapons and vile ideologies invade our region from the north. This harmful traffic undermines the peace and stability of the entire region.
President Bola Tinubu is bold about his declaration that Nigeria is open for business and a promise of return on investment for multinationals willing to come in and explore the abundance of opportunities in the country.
We welcome partnership with those who not mind seeing Nigeria and Africa assume larger roles in the global community. The question is not whether Nigeria is open for business. The question is how much of the world is truly open to doing business with Nigeria, and how Africa is an equal, mutually beneficial manner.
Just like other world leaders, President Tinubu committed to the global climate action and pledged that Nigeria and other African nations will cooperate with the fight against climate change. But there is a caveat to this. African leaders will fight climate change on their own terms.
Climate change severely impacts Nigeria and Africa. I also lament the grave loss of life in Morocco and Libya. The Nigerian people are with you. Please note that. African nations will fight climate change, but must do so on fair and just terms.
Beyond the flowery speech at the United Nations, there seems to be a lot of excitement and optimism generated by what the speech translates to for the people in the country and on the continent. They commended Nigeria's new posture of leadership in Africa. The coming days will be busy for President Bola Tinubu as he continues to push Nigeria's investment drive and fast-track national growth and opportunities. Femi Akonde, TVC News, New York.
Julie, I'm kind of surprised. The delivery of Mr. President, compare it to his delivery during the electioneering process and everything. But since he got to this position now, you can see yesterday I took my time, I listened to this speech, and I saw the delivery as wonderful.
You see, what we told them at that time that they didn't believe was the fact that this man flogged his body thoroughly during the campaigns. A lot of the people who will make fun of an old man sleeping in the palace of an emir, we saw them during the reading of the judgment of the presidential election petitions court. Some had not even listened for up to 30 minutes. They were already in dreamland, including journalists. I mean, if they had not sat in that court for up to 30 minutes, they were gone. Gone. Otilo. You know, like the song that Hot Kid and Zlatan sang. We are support Otilo. You don't go. No traces. That song now. They were gone. But you will mock Tinubu for falling asleep in the palace of an emir. That is a man who will not go to bed until like 4 a.m. during those campaigns. And before 9 a.m., some people are already at his door. So when you flog your body that much, it has to tell. There's no way that it won't tell. Even we that we are much younger, some of us lazy folks, we travel to Abuja, come back the same day. We will not go to work. We just go straight home to go and enjoy the comfort of our homes. And we had people who were doing up to 3 rallies in one day sometimes.
Back to back.
And other engagements apart from rallies. So by the time he went to France to rest and came back, it was a different Tinubu that we were seeing. Somebody said that it looks like this man condos during the campaigns. That is it not the same man that was saying Bala Blue? You know, since he came back from France, he has not given them a single soundbite. They've been looking for it with fine-tooth comb. They got, you know, the kind of light that those Yoruba hunters of those days use, that they will put on their heads.
They use carbide to
yes,
fire.
they put that kind of a lamp on their heads, looking for soundbite. When will he say Bala Blue again? When will he say Bala Blue? No more Bala Blue, because he has benefited from sufficient rest. And when you rest, you feel fresh. And some of the people who used to even go to disturb him and all that, once you enter inside that place called Aso Rock, you cannot just, it is only if he wants to see you that you can see him. You can't get crashed into his house to go and disturb him. So those things have made him stronger, made him fresh. I was speaking with one of his aides. He said, because of this man, these days it's around 1 a.m. that I sleep. Because he too will not go to bed early. And that's a man that they felt was too ill to run Nigeria. That, he cannot work unless being aided. Who aided him to go and give speech? All of the people that he's been having those meetings with. The people who sit on Twitter, or is it X that they call them now? Those who abuse other people. How many of them can have even 3 engagements in one day? They will shut down their phones when people begin to disturb them.
So you couldn't
They've not got
that were shaking.
Huh? No, when last did you see his hand shaking? Ayo, on the day that they gave him his certificate of return, you know he held it aloft.
No, didn't.
So but
it was when he was reading this speech, he was opening the leaves.
I said he held it aloft and his hand was not shaking. So things have changed. They are looking frantically to find something that they can ridicule him about. But look, he's a completely changed man now. He has rested. He battled hard for it, and God gave him the thing. Now that God has given him, he's relaxed. He's just looking at them like the proverbial Ekiti bat, just watching, just looking at them like fire, like looking at them, waiting to see what will happen next. That's it.
So
let's go to the subject matter now.
The 20-minute speech delivered by Asiwaju yesterday, I've listened to it like 5 times, and I've had commentaries. It's one of the best speeches by any Nigerian president. I'm not saying it's the best. I said one of the best before they will say I'm overpraising him now. The delivery, the content, the calmness, and even the subject. He addressed the theme.
Yes.
I mean, in Lagos, he had what we called the speech villa in Lagos. I don't know what they call it in Abuja, but whoever put that together, I mean, did a fantastic job. And I know that
it's only one person.
Of course. I mean, the team that put it together, of course. I know Tunde Rahman, Dele Alake, the Chief of Staff, Gbajabi Amila. Those 3 are very key. I am very sure of that. Because, you know, they and of course, Tunji Bello, they have always been involved in writing a speech. Look at you see the theme of what Asiwaju presented yesterday. Said rebuilding trust, reigniting global solidarity. That's the main topic, with the sub-theme accelerating actions on the 2030 agenda and its sustainable development goals towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability for all. Where he said it's no longer going to be business as usual, that Africans will no longer return old shackles, I mean, in the same old way. And that Africa is going to deal with the issue of climate change, but at our own terms. You are not going to dictate to us. You are not going to say you are sending a gay ambassador to us and that we must take it hook, line, and sinker just because
in exchange for
in exchange for AIDS. No, you can't force things down our throats any longer. And are the kind of things we were asking for before post World War II, when UN came into being. I mean, that those things are different now. And although he acknowledged that yes, we still have the issues of a leadership that we need to deal with amongst ourselves, but the UN must not continue to see Africa as a mere a protege of things that
or a continent to be exploited.
Or a continent to be exploited.
About,
yes,
the
exploitation.
Republic of Congo.
Yeah, Congo.
They've been at war all these years. But the exploitation of that extremely rich country, we are going there
and taking their gold.
They have timber in so much quantity. They have diamond. If there is a country that God has blessed tremendously,
look at what they have done to
Congo.
Yeah, look at what they have done to Niger too.
But there's no peace.
Niger has uranium. The uranium and the lithium that they have in Niger is what they use to light the whole of France. And those guys there, it's Nigeria that's giving them electricity. And you exploit this thing, you take it back to your
Instead of
building
a nuclear power plant for them, at least. So you talk about the exploitation of Africa, that it has to stop. And so that people do not think that military rule is popular in Africa. He's saying, look, yes, some countries have reverted to military rule, but military rule is not popular in our continent. But he talked about some of the problems pushing people to take extreme actions. And he's saying, look, let's have a situation in which promises will be kept. Because when you don't keep promises, you are annoying the people. And when the people are not happy, they will welcome military rule with open arms. So I'm happy that he talked about that and violent extremism, the need for us to come together and defeat violent extremism. The speech talked on so many things that bother us as a people of this continent. And I'm happy that I did not speak like an hypocrite. During his campaigns, he talked about this climate change thing.
Yeah.
Many people thought, can he say this on the big stage? And he said it on the big stage.
Yeah.
Because that's how you know a president who is confident in his beliefs and who is not an hypocrite. He said it on the big stage. You can't, it will be on our own terms.
He said,
I'm not going to dictate the terms for us.
Yeah, he said we are going to embrace it on a fair and just terms on our own. So, of course, he acknowledged that, yeah, bad leadership has been responsible for the spate of coups. But then, these characters, I mean, they also, the Western world also assist in fueling.
They are complicit.
Yeah, they are complicit in these regime changes. When you support a government that impoverishes its people, you know, when we have some companies in Nigeria, most of them are French companies. Now, there was a video that went viral about 2 weeks ago. A French company was leaving. They were destroying the vehicles they left behind. So just that,
can't use it.
I mean, the nationals, the Nigerians there could not have access to those vehicles. Why would you do that? You could just dash it to them. They were destroying the plant and equipment and vehicles.
Yeah, they were living in anger, so they are not prepared to dash them.
Yeah. So, I mean,
the people rose up against them.
Of course.
So they are angry.
I know. I think the French ambassador was ejected. So, I mean, this now Africans are waking up, and it's no longer business as usual. And the kind of demands we make in Africa now are quite different from those of a post-war Europe. The president said that during the speech. Fantastic speech.
All right. Independent judiciary, enhanced welfare of judges, and quick dispensation of justice are some of the challenges facing the judiciary in Nigeria. Stakeholders in the judiciary will be engaged in discussing on these issues and more during the coming 2023 Court of Appeals Legal Week. For the judges of the court, the time is now to address these challenges to ensure quick and effective dispensation of justice in the country. We'll take this break now. When we come back, we'll talk more. Please, we'll be right back after this time out.
Coming up in the month of September, on the 5th is International Day of Charity, while the 7th of September is International Day of Police Cooperation. The 8th is International Literacy Day. Also on the 8th is 1 year remembrance of Queen Elizabeth II's death. 10th September is World Suicide Prevention Day. On the same day is 1 year anniversary of when Prince Charles was proclaimed king. On the 11th of September, it's 22 years after the World Trade Center was attacked by terrorists in the United States in 2001. 15th September is International Day of Democracy, while the 16th is International Day for the Preservation of the Ozone Layer. 21st September, International Day of Peace, and 23rd is dedicated as International Day of Sign Languages. 27th September is set aside as World Tourism Day, and 28th is World Maritime Day. On the 29th is International Day of Awareness of Food Loss and Waste. Stay tuned to TVC News as we bring you reports and analysis of these events. TVC News, first with breaking news.
Thank you for staying with us. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout, and we're reaching you from our headquarters here in Lagos, Nigeria, and I still have the Maestro Babajide Kolade Otitoju in the studio and Mojid Jamiu. Jide, before the Court of Appeal ruled the last time and everybody, the attention was actually shifted after the election, attention was shifted to the judiciary, and a lot of people have been saying that the way regularly governments look at the welfare and remuneration of the lawmakers, National Assembly members, executive members, and everything, that the same thing to do, that for some time now, it's as if the judiciary is in kind of the least paid attention to in these three arms of government.
No doubt about it. The Court of Appeal, for example, is the biggest court in the country. It has 90 justices, 4,000 staff, and 20 divisions.
20?
Yes. For this reason, it is the most critical court. They are the ones who handle election petitions at state and National Assembly level, as well as presidential. So all the categories of those elections, it is the appeal court judges.
Very busy.
Yes. So for 6 months, an appeal court judge will leave his own division, go elsewhere to handle election-related cases. And they spend a minimum of 2 billion to pay their allowances, pay the allowances of their clerical staff, their drivers, and all those people, because when those judges move, their staff move with them. You have to provide the stationery for them. In some cases, they even hire, rent courtrooms for them, because some of the courtrooms are not conducive, no fans in them. So it is the capital component of the work that they do is very huge, because the responsibility itself is huge and the court is big, no doubt about it. But the court has continued to be underfunded. And when you continue to underfund the court, how does it find the money to execute its functions, dispense justice creditably? It has become so bad that some judges, when they elevate them from the high court to the appeal court, they don't feel like living. For example, if you are a judge in Lagos State, the conditions here are much better than other states. You don't feel like living. If you are a judge serving, if you are a high court judge serving in River State, you've seen the kind of buildings that Wike built for judges. See how conducive those buildings are. And they have accommodation, they have everything. And he's ready to fight for the welfare of the judges. Even when the DSS tried to arrest some judges, he stood in the way. So how many high court judge will get an elevation to Abuja and from River State or from Lagos State and will feel excited, I'm going? Very few of them, because the condition, the working condition in Abuja for a lot of them is inferior to the condition in the state that they are living. So if you are saying you are elevating a judge to the appeal court, the signs of elevation have to be there. If the kind of vehicle that is using, that it was using as high court judge in the state, when it gets to Abuja, you will discover that it is still the same kind of vehicle, or even inferior. So some of them won't feel that elevation has really happened. So we can't continue to treat judges in the manner that we are treating them, including the appeal court judges, that in my view are very, very important because of the role that they play and the size of the court itself. So something has to be done. Someone like President Tinubu, who in Lagos set the high standard in terms of welfare of judges. We saw judges being provided with Porsche cars for the first time.
Yeah.
And many of them, you know, were really happy about that. President Tinubu is the president now. We want to see that replicated at the national level. If we are saying we want an independent judiciary, a judiciary in which the judges will freely give judgment from the inner recesses of their hearts, then the things that they need, the tools that they need, have to be provided. Their budget has to be sufficient to cater to those multiple needs, which we'll talk about as we go on.
No, it's a matter of concern that courts are not properly funded. What are the implications of this?
The appeal court, like Jide said earlier, is the largest court in Nigeria with 20 divisions. Now, we have a few of them who are close to us, and when they talk about what they are going through, you will pity some of these justices. Most of them serve away from their homes. And I think what the government needs to do, there is autonomy of the judiciary. Their own allocation is on first-line charge, but the funding is still not enough because, take for example, ICT is very, very important. You know, we have some conflicting judgments in some instances, but they are advocating now that all the 20 divisions must be interconnected so that a judge that is given
an injunction
an injunction in Kano, I mean, it is
everybody knows
that there is this
Court of Appeal in Kano has given that injunction.
So it's not
getting the same injunction.
That is it. You are not granting some frivolous injunctions. You see, as the injunction is being granted in Kano, the person in Ekiti or Ibadan or Benin division is seeing it online real time. So, like, it's easier for those who deliver their judgment in Kano today to do it via Zoom. The three of them were in different locations, and they were all synced. They delivered via Zoom. So the ICT department should be well funded. Like, I'm happy that we have a president who did it in Lagos at the federal level now. So this call is at the appropriate time. We want Tinubu to replicate what he did for the judiciary in Lagos at the federal level, not just at the appellate court. Now, they have 90 as we speak, but there is already a 10-man vacancy at the Supreme Court, which means between 5 and 10 of them will be upgraded to the Supreme Court. Although I think the Supreme Court allows for people to come, for justices to come from some other places apart from the appeal court. That's why the CJN, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has requested for application for those who think they can serve on the bench of the Supreme Court to apply. So they have 10 positions to fill, which will further deplete the number in the appellate court. So the way judges are being treated in some states, it is the state governments that come to their aid, like Rivers. And I could remember sometime in Ondo State and Ekiti State, it was the state government that furnished the apartments of the justices of the Court of Appeal so that they could have a conducive environment to work. They were not willing to work in those two states because the quarters they built for them were empty. So then their medicals both during and post service, because by the time you allow somebody to spend the active parts of his years, the judges now retire at the age of 70. And after they retire, I think one of the conditions should be that they should be entitled to medical service for life. Honestly, because for you to retire at 70, you need to see what they go through. I saw some of the documents during the presidential election petition, the judgment. Some of the documents, very, very voluminous. 12 hours from 9 a.m., no, from 9:30 a.m. to 10 p.m. They only had a 15-minute break. You can imagine the stress on their brains. And how do we repay them? They have 18 departments in that court. Then they need to strengthen the appointments and promotions to the appeal court, whereby it is only those justices that really deserve that position on merit that should get into that place. So these are some of the things that the government needs to look into.
Let's talk a little about training. Any good judge is a product of good training from experience. Now, why should training be prioritized?
Of course, you can see different interpretations to the Electoral Act, for example. Judges are more brilliant than one another. A good judge is a product of good training. In fact, what the appeal court has done is to bring in senior judges, retired judges, to help train some of the appeal court judges, because when you hear some judgments, you'll be embarrassed, because you then ask, is this person properly grounded? That is why the training is important. Appeal court judges are entitled to a training abroad in a year. But if you are lucky to go for training once in 3 years, if you go for training once in 3 years, you will thank your stars. Because, again, because of lack of funding, sufficient funding, these trainings are not regular. The trainings are usually consolidated with their, with their medicals.
Yeah.
Usually consolidated with their medicals.
So that when they go for training,
yes, they can then use that to do their medicals. Yeah. But these things are not coming as they should because of paucity of funds. And judges who are constantly writing longhand, is reflecting badly on their health. There's a particular judge who has shoulder issue. He's already been traced to years of... Why should judges of courts of record still be writing in longhand? So this training, when you already... You know that these judges, this is their entitlement. Even if when we talk about the accommodation, in Abuja, when I went to Abuja, I saw the judges' quarters in Gudu district. Honestly, by protocol, judges and senators are at the same level. Yes. Appeal court judges and senators, they are at the same level. But senators will not accept to go and stay in those judges' quarters. Apart from that, it's not even sufficient for them. They don't have enough accommodation to go around these people. So there are many things that need to be addressed. You address the matter of their training. Is the entitlement of a judge to be trained both locally and abroad, tied to their the matter of their medicals. Government has to address that. But the situation in which there is paucity of funds, you then have a situation in which there is no money for them to go for training as much as they deserve. Then let's talk about even the wages. In September 2021, the president of the Court of Appeal, Justice Monica Dongba Mensem, lamented that the salaries of judicial officers and staff have not been reviewed since 2008. Since 2008. Now, they are among the poorest paid in Africa and even in the continent. Let me give you an idea of their salary. The president of the Court of Appeal, her salary is 206,425 monthly.
Sorry? Wow.
Yes. President of the Court of Appeal, 206,425 naira monthly. The justices, other justices of the court, their own salary is 166,285. This is not fiction. It was the president of the court that said this. Then the chief justice of the federation, the CJN, his own salary is 279,497 monthly. That's Ariwola. Other justices of the Supreme Court bench, their salary is 206,000, exclusive of allowances and benefits. So the last time their salaries were reviewed was in 2008. And we've had other categories of public servants have their salaries reviewed, but since 2008, judicial workers, judicial officers have not had their salaries reviewed. When she complained, the former president said, okay, that they were going to do something about it. I waited and waited until the former president left office. It was not done. It was not done. So how do you create a situation in which judicial officers, judges of the Court of Appeal are this poorly paid? When you do this, you are encouraging corruption. Because this is not a salary that can take anybody home. In today's Nigeria, people of that cadre, they are entitled to 3 vehicles. Some have only one. The one that they have, some have used it for like 8 years. So it's a terrible thing. If we want the best, we want to get the best out of them, and we want them to be incorruptible, we want them to do their work diligently and with fear of God, the things that they deserve have to be provided.
All right. I think we have a caller. Thank you for staying with us. Oh, we lost it. MJ, talking about the salary, did you just feel that the salary now, Nigerian judges are among the poorest paid in Africa?
It's not just ridiculous. It's not just ridiculous. It is scandalous. Because I've heard what those at the state level earn, and I was like, well, this is an exaggeration. This is the man, they are trying to be funny. But you know, even if government claims that yes, we provide accommodation for them, we provide transport, do you feed them? Do you pay for their children's school fees?
Can this pay the school fees?
Can this pay the school fees of one child?
206,000.
Even in a federal university, this salary cannot sustain a child in a federal university, a student.
So, especially in the light of increases that we are seeing.
Yes. So the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission should, as a matter of urgency, do something about the salaries and allowances of our, of our judges. Senators take 13 million every month as allowances.
Probably even higher now.
It's probably higher as allowances. The other day, their so-called prayer
sent to their boxes.
Sent to their boxes. We have now confirmed that it's 2 million naira, which they now said is leave bonus. So if you are paying, and your leave bonus is supposed to be 10% of your basic salary. So the basic salary of these judges, now let's assume is 300,000. 3 times 12 is 36, 3.6 million. So 10% of that will be 360,000 naira as their leave bonus. let us assume that it is 300,000.
Bonus.
No. They told us it is leave bonus. So I want to assume. So this is different from constituency allowances and other allowances.
Why
that
should the Senator
National
be
Assembly
treated
members
better than the President of the Court of Appeal?
President of the Court of Appeal.
President of the Court of Appeal collecting 206,000 naira a month.
A governor takes 1.2 million naira.
Supreme Court judge earning 206,000 a month. Because the Supreme Court judge is on the same level with the President of the Court of Appeal.
Yes. It's number...
so what are we talking about?
Number 5.
This is their salary.
Yes.
The CJN is on 279.
Yes. And that's number 5 on the hierarchy.
497.
So I think the last time this was reviewed was 2008. 2008.
Yes.
So why are they still writing it in longhand?
It's because of the slowness. I mean, they need to embrace technology. Apart from Lagos, where you see the semblance of modern courts, you need to see some courtrooms in some of the states in this country. You see some courtrooms. There's nothing will make you believe that this is a courtroom, because no fan, no proper ventilation. The place is just is old.
Let's take this call. Adewale is calling us from Ibadan. Yes, Wale, thank you for staying with us.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, please. I just want to confirm maybe what Kolabe Otitodi is saying about all these judges are true. Are they really taking? Is that their take home?
Yes, that is what.
Are you telling me?
That is what the President of the Court of Appeal said back then in September 2021. If you Google it, you will see the story.
Most of us in Nigeria, we should be seeking forgiveness from the God Almighty.
Honestly,
because all this corruption, we think all these judges are I don't know, because I'm just hearing this for the first time.
Oh, it's the truth. It's the truth.
Of the whole federations are taking this. In fact, I think we are in a very, very messy situation in this country.
If you remember, the matter of welfare of judges, the fact that they are unable to go on training regularly was what brought down the former CGN. Yes. No, former CGN Tanko.
Yes.
Because his colleagues rose against him. That's that letter that later leaked. They said, what is all this? We can't go. And they are entitled to go, even go with their aides. Go and rest abroad with their aides. What we have, judges, each of those 90 justices of the Court of Appeal, they are entitled to 4-bedroom duplex with boys' quarters, guest chalets, 3 vehicles, and domestic staff. But they don't have it.
You know what they do now?
They don't have.
It is some agencies of government that come to their aid in terms of training, overseas training, like the NNPC, PTDF, NCC, AMCON.
Which will not be,
and
they should have their own proper budget. They should have
their own proper budget. The same way state governments are assisting the police with APCs, armored personnel carriers.
That's what they are, how they are.
Yes,
judges.
That's now they are now helping judges. I just said that in some states in the southwest, it is the state governments that furnished the apartments.
Yes.
They were just empty.
Yes. Sometimes they even give their accommodation. Remember the case of a governor who lost a case. And after he lost a case, he went and evicted them from.
Yes, I said he gave them accommodation.
One governor from the south.
How can you?
He evicted and said, I gave you a house to live in, and you have now gave judgment against me.
Okay.
So he sent them packing.
Charles is calling us from Jalingo, that's in Taraba State. Charles, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, good evening, journalist Hangout. My greeting to Babajide and the co-host and the other man there. Please, I was very disheartening hearing that our judges earned the patriot song you just mentioned now.
Yes.
But I'm surprised that you just mentioned that that's your salary, 200 and something. But when you talk about the lawmakers, you are talking about allowances in millions. You should tell us the allowances of the judges, added to what their salary is, and then we'll not know what their monthly take home is. So tell us that you don't.
Okay, thank you, Charles.
A senior colleague just sent this to me. He said, I am watching. I don't want to believe that what these judicial officers' salaries I'm hearing. I said, I don't want to believe it.
So, no, but the thing is, there is no, it's public knowledge.
And of course.
In 2021, when the Court of Appeal, President came out, it was public knowledge. Anyone coming out of the end of this program, you can even Google the story. It's there.
It's a fact.
Because this afternoon, I still went back and checked what she said back then. And President Buhari even said it that they will have to do something about the salaries of judges. I remember that he said that. But before he left office, it was not done. So since 2008, for those who probably think that, oh, this is concocted, this is not true. What is also true is that since 2008, their salary has not been reviewed. Just like university, ASU, I think ASU that was last done in 2009.
Yeah, I think professors now earn about 750,000. I mean, even higher than no, it's vice chancellors that earn 750.
No, professors are not able to.
No, VCs and 750.
Like half a million.
Professors
between 450,
500 for professors, but the VCs 750. Now, I think the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, should, as a matter of urgency, discuss
this with the president.
With the president and summon whoever is the chairman of the Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission to come and do something urgently on the issue of these justices. I mean, this is
when some people think that, okay, maybe their allowances are humongous and all that. We've already talked about even their entitlements that they don't get. Where you are entitled to 3 vehicles, one of them like a Hilux, sedan, and all that. And you still don't get it.
Even
the training is not coming.
Even the facilities that they should use to work. I mean, ICT. They make all the courts, all the divisions in the court, the 20 divisions in the court, are supposed to be interconnected, so that if anybody goes to a particular
they
court,
shouldn't even be giving conflicting judgments.
No, conflicting judgments.
Courts of concurrent jurisdiction. Posturing as if they are superior to the other.
So, and there's so much discipline in the Court of Appeal in terms of, especially in the judiciary. In the Court of Appeal, you know who the number one is.
Next,
You know who is next. Like
it's just like Olubadan. If Olubadan dies now,
yes.
No will come Olubadan.
So the next person to Monica now is mentioned now is Justice Jimmy Olukaode Bada. And after that is Justice Folayemi Omoleye. They know the succession. Just like in the Supreme Court. So yes. Seniority and hierarchy.
Carried off the story.
Yeah.
Just there.
Look at it. That's the story. I hope the person who called a while ago can see this.
You can see it
on
the screen.
Look at the date.
So we are not.
Look at the. See, if you go down,
we are not making
that second to the last line before lopsided, you see the salary.
We are not making up
106,285 a month, and then the other one said 206. The appeal court president revealed that she receives the sum of 206,425. That's what she said. I can read it from here.
Yeah.
And that other judges of the court are on 166 or so, 166, 285.
He said, the last paragraph here is saying, appeal court president revealed that she received a sum of 206,000, while other justices on the bench of the Court of Appeal go home with 166,000 285 every month.
There is no lie there. It just looks unbelievable. But in this same country, go and ask Majid, go and ask how much they earn at debt management office. Go and ask how much they earn at NMPC. Some of them earn far more than our president earns.
No.
Some of those places, CBN and all of them. People,
that
there
one
are
is,
people who
they
get
pay
extortionate wages.
No. They are house helps. They get money for house help. Their drivers collect more than these judges. They are drivers and they are domestic servants.
These things have to be addressed.
We just feel that the President Bola Tinubu.
No, I know the president will find this scandalous.
Lagos State
of course,
again,
of course.
For the reforms in the judiciary, the rot is just.
No, well, if they say judges are corrupt, or some judges are taking money, have we encouraged them?
Not
by the glaring ill treatment of these judges, by the glaring underfunding of the different arms of the judiciary. I mean, this is unacceptable. The judiciary has to be better funded with immediate effect.
And that's our offering today. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. You can watch the repeat broadcast tonight at 11. Join us this Sunday from 1:30 to 3:30 p.m. for Journalist Hangout on Sunday on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I'm Ayodele Usubakun.